reason she can't name a single time that there's been a successful revolt or women gaining their rights happen, and it can't. So because of that, my argument is simply this. How do feminists ever take out the patriarchy without appealing to an enforcement arm, which is going to be necessarily patriarchal? How's that even possible?
How are you doing, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the channel. One of the people that I like to listen to, at least watch debate, is Andrew Wilson. On this particular video, he was on the, I believe it's Teamcast IRL Culture War show or podcast on the Teamcast channel. And this is really the crux of it. The argument that we are going to try and listen to here, which I think makes a lot of sense, is the argument of force doctrine, which basically translates to women cannot give themselves their rights. They always have to depend on men to give them their rights because of a concept called force doctrine. Some of you have probably heard it, maybe you haven't heard it, but let's listen to the best argument for this because I thought it was really fascinating and also true. Let's get into this.
So the thing is like utilizing this idea that, feminists want this for women. Feminists also want to deconstruct patriarchal systems.
Right.
So let me give you a logical argument here, okay, that I'd like you to respond to. How can feminists do that without appealing to the patriarchy? How can they take down the patriarchy without then appealing to the patriarchy in an infinite regress?
How do you mean?
Well, I would argue that men have the monopoly on force.
Okay.
Overwhelmingly, they have the monopoly on force, and they always will have the monopoly on force. My proof and evidence is half of the world. Half of the world right now, if they decide women are, and did, they were. And women could never appeal to anybody except men for their rights because they don't have force. So because that's true, you tell me how it is that women, feminists, how it's actually logical for them to say we're going to dismantle the patriarchy, even though via the force metric, they're going to infinitely have to appeal to it for their rights.
So you're saying, like, if all men wanted to, women, like, they would be able to do it because men are stronger than women, etc.
Like half the world.
Now, I don't know what you guys think about this. Please leave your comment. Just give me what you think, because this is a very emotive subject for a lot of people in terms of we've already been indoctrinated a lot with the feminism. So a lot of people are kind of trying to win themselves on that. What do you think? Is this an actual legitimate claim?
Right. But he
so
gave you this
it presupposes how most of the observable world actually operates.
In that respect, and that's not what I'm taking issue with. Mm-hmm. The part that I'm taking issue with is just that it would break along these lines very neatly.
No. That's not the argument.
But
the argument
what he presented to you is just that it would be like saying, like, if you have a group of people whose names start with the letter A, and then you have all the people whose names start with the letter B to Z, and all of those people work together to overcome the people whose names start with A, then yes, almost by definition, they would be able to, like, overcome the people with A, probably.
No. Well, yes, but also no. So let's caveat a few things. First and foremost, do you agree with me that there have been many revolutionary fights and revolts?
Yes.
Okay. Can you name any of them that were led or fought by women ever in history?
No, I don't believe so.
Ever in history?
No, I don't believe so.
One time in history?
No, I don't believe so.
So then what's going on is that...
Boudica, the Celts.
No.
Now, there is, it's called Ian, this fellow. Ian is very, how do you say, he's like an old school hippie. So he has this idea that the world is kind of like things will just happen if you wish them. And he has a very naive view of the world. And I think he's passed through the education system in the West, so he's mostly an effeminate man. I don't hate him. I've heard him make good arguments, but he tends to be very naive. He's speaking about Boudica. This is a lie. It's been brought up by a lot of feminists, but it's a lie. You see, even back in the day when there were queens who were like the leaders, the only way they would stay leaders if men backed them. Otherwise, if they didn't, they would not be leaders. And often she'll find herself in that position, most likely through marriage, to a royal family and then inherit the seat or take over the seat when there are no men to take over the seat.
Fought the Romans.
No,
Yeah,
that was
Boudica.
men, guarantee it.
No,
We can look
Boudica
it
was
up.
was a queen.
Wait,
I mean, like, they were-
having
She
a
rode the
queen,
chariot,
dude.
Hang on. Having a queen there doesn't mean that the people who have the monopoly on force weren't men, because it's always
Exactly.
men who have the monopoly on force. And so the reason she can't
she is.
point to any time ever in history that's revolts and things like this were ever in operation by women. Women can never successfully take their freedom back from a patriarchal. Hang on, let me finish.
Okay.
They can never take their freedom back from a patriarchal force without appealing to a patriarchal force. Ever. Not that queen, not any queen, not any person ever in the history
But
of
it
all of
seems like you
mankind.
said because it hasn't happened, it can't happen.
It can't.
But that's saying the only justification is because it hasn't happened yet.
No, the justification.
The reason it does not happen because it's extremely difficult or impossible, Ian. And this is that naivety that I was telling you about, because they're trying to create gray areas where the none exists. If today all men decided a certain thing is happening, it will happen. Especially if the only people resisting it are women. It will happen.
Is that men are much, much stronger than women.
But guns
hang
are
on, overwhelmingly
invented for that purpose.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Sorry,
show me. Let's get 10 women in a room and hand them a magazine and watch what happens.
But the great equalizer, the ballistic, is
No,
like,
it's not a
because
great.
men are
It's not a
brawny,
great equalizer.
Just
Ian,
like with the monkeys, the
what
biggest,
happens,
strongest monkey would be the alpha. Then
Yeah,
the other monkeys decide
no. What happens is with these equalizers is men take the equalization away from women because they're much stronger, which is why you see all these police officers getting disarmed and women in combat getting their ass stomped. That's why you don't see female Navy SEALs. That's why you don't see any of that, because they can't do it. They're physically incapable of doing it. Now, even if I grant you an outlier, even if I grant you G.I. Jane, who never came to fruition, G.I. Jane never existed, never came to fruition because they can't do it. But even if I granted you a G.I. Jane, an outlier, the exception would prove the rule. So the thing is like the reason she can't name a single time that there's been a successful revolt or appealing to men is because it's never happened and it can't. So because of that, my argument is simply this. How do feminists ever take out the patriarchy without appealing to an enforcement arm, which is going to be necessarily patriarchal? How's that even possible?
Well, there could be robots.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there could be laser beams from outer space.
An enforcement arm that is not human
there could
male.
be-
Is that what you're
Could be
asking?
aliens.
I can lodge.
The thing is this, it doesn't matter what enforcement exists. It necessarily means that the people are going to create it and use it most effectively are men. So it doesn't matter whether you see, oh, maybe they have a firearm. Granted, it will slightly equalize if you are dealing with an unarmed man. What if you are dealing with an armed man? There is no way that that can be equal. Men have faster reflexes. They are stronger, so they are able to control the weapons better, and all those other things. And also we have the tendency to be more aggressive because of testosterone, and also we like to impose our will where we can. It is what it is. Biology.
Logically grant that a all-powerful gray alien species comes down here,
drones.
and
I'm
then
talking
you're
about robots,
appealing to the
literal-
gray alien species to control
you're
the
asking
men.
for a type of force other than the human male that could be appealed to. I'm
Yeah,
talking
who builds
about
all the drones,
robots
Ian?
and ballistics.
Who builds all the drones?
At this point, more drones.
Who builds them?
Somebody built some drone that builds more
Yeah,
drones.
This is the dishonesty I don't like, because the thing is when they realize that the argument is lost, now they start to make stupid arguments that just drones build more drones. So they became sentient and they just go to work and build more drones. It's a very stupid argument, and he knows it. And a lot of this comes from the denial of reality. And I've seen it a lot. It's growing up. It's building up in a lot of men, especially when you're feeling inadequate or when you want to pander or you're afraid to piss off some female he's chasing or something. Or maybe he's chasing a feminist female, a modern woman. So he doesn't want to look like he's against her. Men do very silly things for Punani. It is what it is.
Who builds them, Ian?
I don't know. Somebody.
Men.
Could be men. Could
Who
be
builds
women,
all the
could-
weapons? Men. Who knows how
Men
to
and
use
women
all the
working
weapons?
together.
Men.
You noticed even the woman just said it because, well, she knows that's reality. But we do have this type of men that go around trying to create gray areas where none exist. It's for pandering reasons, but these are the weak men that bring hard times, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
And who can carry all the weapons? Men. Who can load all the tanks? Men.
It's not
Who,
a
it's always men.
100% thing. There are women that also do that stuff.
But not the majority.
Well, that's
they're
not.
unique. Not everybody's the same, but they're more
Ian,
outliers.
how come these badass women don't go, hey, I'm tired of wearing this really hot in the middle of this sun, and we got millions of us, so we're just going to take out this patriarchy. Why not?
Well, they are stripping their off in Iran.
They're
Do you realize this? He's talking about a big generality of, say, in the Islam world where women wear the burqa. They're not going to decide on themselves that they're going to remove the burqa. You heard a few years ago, Saudi Arabia just allowed women to drive. And guess who allowed them to drive? Do you need an answer?
Appealing to men to come in and help them?
Yeah, I mean, ballistic force, appealing to the force, basically.
Appealing to the force.
And
Force doctrine, unbeatable, always appealing to the patriarchy. So answer me this question. How is it that women, feminists, how is it even a logical position to say that you want to repeal the patriarchy with full knowledge that you'll always have to appeal to the patriarchy in order to enforce your deconstruction of the patriarchy? It's the most circular, stupid thing I've ever heard.
I think you have to appeal to force.
And who has the monopoly on that?
At the current state, the human male.
Okay, so right this very second, if women want to deconstruct the patriarchy, who do they have to appeal to?
Right. Yeah.
Men.
Yeah.
Can you steal man Ian's argument?
Yeah, Ian is saying, what if there was some technological marvel that equalized force?
Like guns.
I thought the sense that I got from your arguments is that right now the domain of force is, and this is your view as well, one that is overwhelmingly dictated by, supported by, and led by men. But it
is not right now. It has always been like this from the beginning of time.
Exists a world potentially where women could get access to this domain of force that either, I don't even think you're saying entirely excludes, but leads them to have an upper hand over men, right? Because you're saying all of this technology is basically the great equalizer, because between drones, tanks, guns, etc., if it's just a matter of...
where?
What? No, I don't think that you're saying it's happened yet, but you're saying that we can't just say because it hasn't happened yet that it necessarily won't in the future.
And there's a lot of stuff originated, a lot of these weaponry that I'm talking about originated because we had alpha males saying no one can stop me, I'm the biggest, strongest.
I'll tell you what,
it's not the strongest that survives, it's the one that's the most adaptable.
I'll tell you what, then advocate for feminism in 200 years where it's possible, but it's definitely not right now. There's no world right this second which exists or has in the last 7,000 years where women can do anything but address their grievances to those who have the monopoly on force. That's always men. So you're necessarily always going to have a patriarchy. It's a vicious circle.
That's the fallacy. Saying it always happened, therefore it will always happen is a misnomer.
I said appeal for it in 200 years then when it does happen. Or if we were asking about logical possibility, remember, Superman's logically possible. I can grant a logical possibility where aliens come down and put shock collars on men, and if they look at women cross-eyed, they get zapped. That's logical. It could happen. Its possibility pragmatically is like in zero, though. So because of that, I'm going to look at this from pragmatic logic, practical logic. If I'm looking at pragmatic and practical logic, Ian, I'm going to ask you again right this second, if men want to appeal anything by power of law, who do they have to appeal to enforce it?
If women want to.
If women do. Women do.
Yeah, generally the government, which is usually run by men.
Who's the enforcement, though?
And you see the unwillingness to commit to the fact. You see, even mentioned government and just went on that. No, it's men. They always have to appeal to men from the beginning. They've always had to appeal to men. Now, what I really want to talk about here is specifically about the malevolence of men. The fact that men who have the absolute power to do anything to any creature, we are the dominant species for a reason, is because of men. We can do anything we want to any creature. The fact that we do not do this to our women shows how men are malevolent. Everything that we build is for women and children, whether we like it or not. Yes, we get some little pleasure out of it, and I believe that's why we have that inclination to build, that if we build something, it makes us feel good. If we provide, if we do all these things that are masculine, it makes us feel good, because that is how things are. And the fact that we have so many men these days that really live in the delusion of females, like Ian, our friend here, he doesn't want to accept that him as a man, or maybe he's feeling some kind of way that as a man he has this capacity to do so much damage. He also forgets that we have the capacity to do so much good. That's why we have everything we have right now. But over the years, we are being maligned, called names, abused, whatever the case may be, because, oh man, they're not really important. They say that while using everything that men make, that they live comfortably because of the security that men have created. It doesn't matter where you go. If there is security, it's being enforced by men. If there is production, it's men producing. It's always been the case. But we don't like to, puff our chests out because we love doing it and we know it's for building the world. But people have been now brought down to these aimless arguments, these silly aimless arguments that have destroyed relationships between men and women. And we have, as men, as you can see, it's a man here, there are two women there who obviously see the facts, but the man who's there is the one who's creating this gray area that doesn't exist. And now here we are. We have to always deal with these simps and these male feminists. Damn it. I don't know what you think about this video. Please leave me a comment down below. Is it indeed a fact that if women want rights, it's us who have to give them those rights? Yes. But if you have a different opinion, leave it down below. And please leave a like on the video, share the video with your fellow simps, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, peace.